Hello, and thanks for joining in. My name is Facebook Jason.
And I'm his wife, as I was called on the epic, Mrs. Facebook Jason.
Yes.
Which I'm okay with.
And today we're going to be doing our review of the Norwegian epic. We just got off a little quick 3-day cruise on the Norwegian epic over Halloween. So now let's talk about it.
It had some good things, and it had some not so great things. So let's discuss.
Let's start at the beginning.
It's like you can read my mind.
After 28 years, I should be able to.
So, embarkation?
Let's start with embarkation. It was a dark and stormy night. No, just kidding.
Well, actually, it was a hot and sunny Florida day.
We started embarkation. We live in Orlando, so it's a quick hour-ish drive over to Port Canaveral. Woke up in the morning, stopped at Wawa, got our coffee, and we took off. That was the smooth part. 3-ish good things about embarkation that we've noticed. One, it was the lady that we had checking us in. She was extremely thorough in everything that she was doing.
Like a very thorough, because I know, shame on us, do not have passports. I mean, we are in the process of working on it. However, she was like, you should really get passports if you have an illness or whatever, you're going to be stuck, whatever port you are. And we're like, yes, we understand. But we had to sign a paper that said we didn't have a passport. But I really liked how thorough she was.
Yes, she was extremely thorough. My driver's license expired after we got back, 3 days after we got back. And she double checked to make sure that I was able to get on the cruise because my driver's license was
set to expire. And she didn't want us to have any issues in the Bahamas. So she was very thorough. I really liked her. Okay, the other thing that we really, really liked was that we were able to get our room card when we checked in.
We're not brand new cruisers. We've cruised multiple times before.
I've only done Carnival, so this was my first outside of Carnival, ship.
I've done mostly Carnival. I did Princess. Princess mailed us the medallions ahead of time. So
those are cool.
Those were really cool. So we had those ahead of time before we went on the ship. With Norwegian, we got our room card right there and then before we even made it on the ship. Also, including with the thoroughness of what she gave us that. She also gave us a piece of paper that says, here's where your muster drill is. But it told us exactly where we needed to go. We needed to go to the casino. And it told us the deck, where to go. Instead of getting on the ship and wandering around, well,
where do we go?
Where's this?
And it was a ship map too, which was really nice.
So we had all that information right then and there before we even got on the ship.
Oh, they also give you like this little boarding pass. It's just a little plastic boarding pass, and they call you by group number, and that's what you hand the ticket agent or the agent once your boarding number is called.
Right.
So the flow of that was really, really good. It was super easy and quick. So that was the good of embarkation.
So if you got good, the opposite is bad.
Well, not bad, just not so great. Let's start with Norwegian saying that we were leaving out of Terminal 3 when we were really leaving out of Terminal 10. Terminal 3 is a Carnival terminal. So we kind of knew that. Jason tried to tell our Facebook group that.
Other people on our Facebook group actually got on the phone, called Norwegian. Norwegian says, nope, Terminal 3 is where you're going out of. All of our paperwork, our boarding pass, every single thing we got from Norwegian said Terminal 3. That was a big confusion, and it seemed to be a continuation of a lack of communication throughout this whole cruise.
Yes. And I felt bad because the embarkation process was not great. I wouldn't trash it, but it wasn't the best. And I think some of it was just the lack of communication from Norwegian.
Right.
Because it's never taken us over 2 hours to get on a ship.
If you watch the series, you watch the first the embarkation. From the time we parked the car at 10:30 roughly, to the time we walked on the ship at 12:25, 2 hours to get through the entire embarkation process.
And even the gangway, usually the gangway, you just you keep going. No, here was stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. So it was just different.
Yeah. In defense of Norwegian, in defense of everything else, they had just gotten back that morning from a 13-day transatlantic.
So that makes sense. So the Coast Guard had to come on the ship and do their inspection. So we fully understand. I think the hard part for me was in talking to people, the lines weren't moving. It came to like a dead stop. So we were fortunate enough to be already in the terminal, but we like just stopped moving and there was no communication in the terminal about anything. And even when we got on the ship, it was a lot of stop and go because they scan your card as you're coming on. But there was no communication of which way to go because it seemed like they were taking some people this way and some people this way based on, I want to say it was your muster station.
I don't know if it was your muster station or it was Haven was going one way and normal guests were going the other way.
Yeah. That pretty much wraps up embarkation.
Now, on a scale of 1 to 5 Facebook Jasons, 1 being bad, 5 being good.
I would give it a 3.
3 Facebook Jasons?
Yeah, 3 Facebook Jasons.
I give it 2.
So shall we move on to our next topic?
Let's go on to food.
Yeah. Ooh.
Because that is part of the reason that everybody goes on a cruise is to eat. Let's go with food and let's go specialty dining.
The food is really good on the ship. Specialty dining where we ate was really, really good.
Embarkation day, we had dinner reservations at Le Bistro.
To celebrate our anniversary?
To celebrate our 28th anniversary, which was it's the French restaurant. No complaints
whatsoever.
If you travel Norwegian, if you cruise Norwegian, they have it was called Free at Sea at one point. Now it's called More at Sea. It was the dining credit. It covered everything.
Mm-hmm.
We each had a glass of wine. We each got 2 appetizers, a main course, a dessert that we shared, all of it included. No complaints whatsoever about Le Bistro. Mm-hmm. People that we talked to on the cruise about their specialty dining, nobody had any complaints.
None at all. Very good. So definitely, and there's several of them, so just make sure we took our time and we looked through all online, looked at the menus, and we picked a French restaurant because I just had really never done one, and I thought it would be something different and something fun. So that's what we did.
Yeah, there's Cagney's, the steakhouse. There's a Brazilian restaurant. There's a hibachi teppanyaki restaurant. So there's quite a few different specialty dinings you can pick from. We just happened to go with the French one because, honestly, the French taught everybody how to cook, and so they're the best ones around.
French onion soup, the best.
Also, on the food side of things, what we liked
their variety at the Lido. I'm not one, I don't always enjoy eating at the Lido because it's always so hectic and busy, but I really liked the layout of the Lido and the different varieties of food. Like one day we were up there and they had leg of lamb for dinner, and I was like, whoa, I don't like lamb, but just the fact that was an option.
So we ate dinner that night in the Manhattan restaurant, which is one of their main dining rooms. Manhattan room and Taste Dining Room are the 2 main dining rooms that they have on there. They didn't have leg of lamb on the menu, but they sure enough had leg of lamb in the Garden Cafe on the Lido.
With a carver.
Right there.
They had like these big baked potatoes. They had a crepe station. I was like, we should have checked this before we went to the dining room.
The Taste in Manhattan room, they have the same menu as each other, but it's a different menu than what's in the buffet. Definitely check out what their offerings are that night to determine where you're going to eat dinner that night.
I also liked they have your typical soft serve ice cream, but then I call them ice cream barrels. They had like 6 different, maybe even 8 different flavors of ice cream. Like I got Rocky Road. They had rum raisin, which made me giggle because that's my dad's favorite ice cream. Butter pecan. They would put however many scoops you wanted. If you wanted to mix your flavors, you could mix your flavors.
Like I said, the pizza was good.
What I liked about the pizza,
it was different.
And every day was a different option. Like on Carnival, it's the same menu every day.
Right.
But they also it was like a pizza and pasta bar. So like they had pasta and red sauce. They had linguine and clam sauce.
You saw them right there making it
macaroni and cheese. And the pizza was really good. The veggie pizza, I highly recommend the pizza. I think we ate it every day.
We did. I mean, they had their staples. You know, you have your sausage or your pepperoni and your cheese, but then they would all have a specialty. One day it was barbecue chicken. Another day it was a vegetable. So definitely a variety, a consistent variety every day. Let's talk about food sideways, not so good.
Yeah.
Starting off on embarkation day, we went to Spice H2O, got some nachos and a burger. She ate her nachos. My burger, as you saw in the video, was raw. The outside was cooked, but the inside was raw, like red raw. It happens. It can happen. I get it. No problem. The next night, we're sitting at a Sheehan's, had the late night dinner. She gets the burger, again, raw. That's 2 burgers in 2 days that were raw.
And in two separate
locations.
Yeah.
One of the things we talked about in our Facebook group, and it was our first time doing Norwegian. So I said, well, why do you like Norwegian? A lot of people said, oh, we like the freestyle dining. I said, okay, well, what's freestyle dining? They said, well, you get to pick what time you want to go eat. And I was like, okay, so that's kind of like Anytime Dine on Carnival, Princess, Royal. They called it something different, but it's basically you go to eat when you want to eat in the main dining room. Or even before we made it to dinner. Dinner service starts at Taste in Manhattan at 5:30. People are lining up at 5 o'clock. And therefore, when 5:30 rolls around and they open it up, everybody gets a little pager number. And people were boisterous about having to wait 20 or 30, 45 minutes oftentimes to get a table when it's freestyle dining.
That's what I like about Carnival, because you can actually make your reservation and then okay, in 45 minutes our table will be ready. And like when we ate at Manhattan, I think we only had to wait like 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah, they told us that, but I don't even think it was that long.
Which brings us now to the wait staff. At the Manhattan and at the Taste, not at La Bistro, I felt rushed. We barely spoke to our server at Manhattan.
At the Manhattan, right.
Like we were an inconvenience is how I felt.
It was more, what do you want to order? Okay, here's your food.
I think we had to ask if we could order a glass of wine.
Right.
And even at breakfast, it felt rushed too. And he just didn't, what do you want to eat? I don't know. I just felt really rushed by the wait staff. Like even the room steward, I know this is kind of going backwards, but we never saw a room steward either. So
if we did see the room steward, we didn't know it was our room steward.
So I just wasn't highly impressed with the dining room staff, except at La Bistro.
So on a food scale, again, 1 to 5 Facebook Jasons, I'll give the food 3.5. I want to give it more because of La Bistro and the buffet.
I'm going to go with a 3. I love desserts. I really wasn't impressed with the desserts at all in the buffet, I'll be honest. They were warm. They weren't cold. And I get that some of it doesn't have to be cold, but some of the stuff that I picked off of there should have been cold, and it wasn't cold.
Right.
The pretzel bites were really good, but they were like room temperature. In the middle of one of mine was cold. I don't even want to get started on the burgers, but I feel bad too because the bistro was so good. The French onion soup was phenomenal, and that's Yeah, that was my fault. But the French onion soup was phenomenal, but I can't, like, the nachos were good. Like the toppings that they had for the nachos were good, but the chips were stale. I would give it a 3.
So now that we're on the ship and we've eaten, let's talk about the onboard activities. There was a pretty good amount of things to do.
Yeah, there was.
They had 2 little pools. They had 5, and this is just on the main deck 15, the main Lido deck. 2 pools, 5 jacuzzis. They had Spice 2.0 had a huge big screen TV that they were constantly showing sporting events on there. They had a pool. They had a couple of hot tubs back there.
And they had like stadium kind of seating, but with like lounge chairs so that you could like watch whatever was on the screen. I really enjoyed that area, and I like that one side was food, and they called it snacks, but it was a grill. Like you could get hamburgers, hot dogs, chips, salsa, guacamole, and then the other side was the bar.
Right. So that was the Spice 2.0 part. Around the pool area on the Lido deck, plenty of sun loungers.
Mm-hmm.
We're not layout type people. We've got a pool in the backyard. We can lay out anytime we want to over here in Florida. So a pool does not make or break a cruise for me, and I generally don't get in the pool or the hot tub. But they had a rock climbing wall.
That was neat. Like, I'm too chicken to do that, so.
The kids' splash pad area and miniature golf area. Very cute.
The way they set it up was really cute, and it's almost in the shade, which I really like, especially because, I mean, we're parents. We had small kids once. I like that it was in the shade and kind of tucked away.
Mm-hmm. They had 1, 2, 3 with 3 different water slides that were continually going.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of things to do on there. However, one of the best by far ship onboard activities that I will suggest you do on the Epic or on any Norwegian cruise, go see Burn the Floor.
I wish we would have gone to both showings. It was so good.
Yes.
So good.
They only had 2 showings of Burn the Floor on our cruise because it was only a 3-day cruise. They're both on the same day. They're both on the last night. Amazing. By far, and I've been on 15-ish cruises or so, of all the shows that I've seen, this was number 1 or number 2 by far.
Yeah, it was really nice. The other thing that I liked, we were on board during Halloween. They had some really great kids activities for like little people. Really great activities. They had trick-or-treating. They had crafts. Like, you could tell that they really went all out to make this night special for the kids. And I just thought it was great.
Right.
And the kids on this cruise were so respectful. We have been on some where I'm just like,
where are your parents?
Where are your parents?
They need some help.
But these kids were great.
One of the not so good things about the shipboard activities goes back to what we talked about in the beginning, was a lack of communication from the ship.
Mm-hmm.
The first full day on the cruise, we were supposed to go to Great Stirrup Cay. We were looking forward to that. We've never been there. Heard great things about it. We had our Facebook group. We had things planned.
I was looking forward to hanging out by the rum bar.
Yeah, we were just going to hang out by the rum bar and laugh at all the zipliners and see if we can pick on them and things like that. We wake up 8 o'clock in the morning. We're still not there.
Yeah, because we kind of slept in. We woke up. We put the TV thing on, and Jason was like, "We should be there by now."
So we go to look outside. Beautiful morning. Love cruise ship morning.
Mm-hmm, my favorite.
Cruise ship sunrise, sunset. Love them. But I realized we're still moving. So we flip on the TV. You know, that navigation channel tells you where you're at. And we came down to Great Stirrup Cay and went back up, then back. We just made big old curves like that for the whole day. Too windy, can't go. No problem. They said, we'll put out a new
ship itinerary for the day, like activity paper thing.
I forgot what the name of it is called.
So we said, great, we'll go to breakfast and then we'll come back to the room and get our new paper.
Paper showed up about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. And there was some stuff that I would have enjoyed doing. Like, they had a wine and chocolate pairing. I think we would have enjoyed that.
Right.
Then they had a wine and cheese pairing. Would have definitely enjoyed that. But by the time we got the paper, it was not there. It was a little frustrating. But we had a great time. Despite any of that, anyway, we had a good time.
Did not realize that we had to, whatever their free at sea, more at sea program, so we had 75 internet minutes.
Yeah, this is a not so great thing about.
This is the ship as a whole, and this comes to the communication thing, is nobody ever said you had to log out
of the internet.
We're used to more the unlimited side of things, so we weren't really paying attention. But you have to physically log out on your phone of the internet plan to stop using the minutes. It's not just stop using them, you have to log out. Didn't realize that, lost all of our minutes the first night. Well, through word of mouth and through rumors, the ship gave everybody 150 minutes of free internet. But nobody from the ship said anything.
No, and they can communicate in the room. Like, you get messages on your room, like on the TV all the time. Like, they told us about Stirrup Cay. Like, they didn't tell you anything.
Right.
Anything about that. So it was a little frustrating.
Just looked one time and boom, you got 150 minutes. Didn't know where that came from.
But hey, I'll take it because that's how we have to communicate.
So going along with the lack of communication, it didn't seem like there was a good contingency plan for a sea day, because it was just kind of like, let's try this and let's try this and let's try this, and not a real good communication about what they could do. It didn't seem like they added too many new events.
No, and the events were so crowded you couldn't even like see anything, especially on the Lido deck.
Right. Yeah, the Lido deck was where they generally do their parties and get-togethers. But it's all between these two spaces of the Waves Bar and the towel rental area, which isn't a big space.
No.
And trying to fit a ship that's got 4,000 guests on there just wasn't working. Even just trying to walk through there sometimes during the day.
It was awful.
It was packed, people all over the place on that side of things. So that area was extremely small. Again, going back to the communication, and I hate to keep bashing the communication, but communication's key. We had communication from Norwegian before we went on that we were going to do a Halloween costume contest, that the ship was going to sponsor one. Our Facebook group did one, but then the ship was going to do one. That never happened. I think there was more people there than they were anticipating at the party, and they just couldn't get it organized.
It was wild. You couldn't even move.
So let's rate onboard activities. Again, 1 to 5 Facebook Jasons. What would you rate it?
4. Nah, 3.
I'm going to get 3.5. Based upon burn the floor, 5.
So good.
But the downside was the brokenness of having to go from one place to the other, the bottleneck, the no real good location to have a deck party or anything like that. The Epic as a cruise ship, taking everything into consideration, good and bad.
I would give it a 5.
Out of 5?
Oh, shoot. I was thinking 10. Sorry. I would give it about a 3.
Okay. Justify.
The lines in the bar were too long. It was very frustrating. It didn't matter which bar you go to. It just wasn't efficient. I did not like my feet hanging off the bed. And I'm not a tall person. Like, I'm really not. But the fact that my feet hung off the bed was kind of frustrating. And the room layout, not a huge fan of it. I felt like the onboard activities were Facebook generated more than what we actually did with the actual cruise line. I mean, there were some things that I like the garden cafe. There were some really hidden hot spots that were great because nobody would go sit there. But I just felt like overall the layout was rough. Like I could never get my bearings on the ship. And that's not like me. I can usually grab my bearings really quickly.
We never got off the elevator and went straight to our room.
I had a good time. I'm not saying that I didn't. I absolutely did. I just felt like the lines were really long. And Ocean's, as much as I looked forward to it, I think I was really disappointed in it. One thing that I really liked about the Epic was the bridge viewing room.
Yeah.
That was neat.
And inside the bridge viewing room, it had all the different keys of the city and awards. Hey, this is the Epic's first time in this particular city. It had all the plaques and everything else. It was great. But then they also had a window where you could watch the captain and observe the bridge area.
That was really neat. That was fascinating.
It gave you a different perspective of what was going on the ship.
The weirdest thing about disembarkation was if you owed money.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So apparently we got cruise credit.
Didn't
Okay.
tell us. Again, communication or lack thereof.
So Jason got up in the morning to look for the piece of paper because Carnival, I don't know about Princess because I wasn't on that ship with you.
Yeah.
You get a running list of what you've spent.
Your folio number.
Your folio and all that. So Jason looked, nothing. We looked on the TV, nothing.
Well, as soon as we docked, there was nothing. I woke up that morning to check the account, just because I always do. I'm former accountant. I always check that. The app had nothing. I couldn't even get in the app at that point.
Yeah, we couldn't even get in the app to see. And we didn't really spend a whole lot of money. Really didn't. So we were like, okay. But we had charges. We knew we had charges.
Right.
So we were like, okay. So we're getting off the ship and we noticed that it's stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. And some people were coming back. So they had somebody from guest services with an iPad taking payments. And I looked at Jason and I was like, do we owe anything? And he was like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. So they scanned our cards. I went first, scanned mine, went through, scanned his, went through. Come to find out from people around us that we got credit, all kinds of credit, but we had no clue.
It never, supposedly the credits came from not going to Great Stirrup Key. But it never showed up on our account on the app ever. Rumor was that it was $20 per person. Well, we only spent like $30. Nothing, because we prepaid everything. Everything was taken care of. And the $30 was
the $20 tip at La Bistro.
Tip at La Bistro and a keychain for her.
Yeah.
No big deals. And taxes on a couple of drinks while we were in port. But that's it. So it wasn't like I wasn't worried about, it would have gone easily through the card that we had on file. That's not the issue, but it was just...
Families were getting separated. Some of it was glitches. People didn't have credit cards down when they thought they did. So, again...
Somebody got a phantom $50 charge.
So, again, communication on their part there. Right. So, that's it.
So, they might have owed us money at the end, but we
didn't know. We wouldn't know.
I give it, like I said, a 3. Agreed. A 3 Facebook Jasons for this cruise. A cruise day is better than a work day any day. Mm-hmm. However, there are some things that they can definitely work upon. Highlights for me, definitely Burn the Floor.
Oh, yeah.
Entertainment, that was excellent. That was also the only time we ever saw the cruise director, was at the end of that show.
I couldn't tell you his name, couldn't tell you what he looked like.
Me neither. Dean, Dave.
I don't know.
Drew, I don't know. It began with a D. So, not that the cruise director makes or breaks a cruise for me. I don't go on a cruise for the cruise director. What I was most disappointed in was the food service. Not the food itself, but the service of the food. Go back and watch our other videos of She Hands was horrible as far as how they handled everything. And I'm a restaurant manager, kitchen manager. This is me, and this is my wheelhouse, and I was about to pull my hair out.
I almost got up and left.
Yes. The restaurant staff, food staff, wasn't thrilled with. Bartenders, they all looked overworked.
They did.
Could be coming again from a transatlantic, 5 sea days in a row.
And then they got stuck with another sea
day. Could be that. And I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but every single bar had lines the entire 3 days.
Long lines.
5, a minimum of 5 people deep every time. I was not a fan of the room layout. We're in room 10233 on the 10th floor, balcony room. It literally went like an S curve. Don't know why. I don't know why they made the ship with the shower and the toilet right as you walk in the door on separate sides. But I do know, and I do understand that this is the only ship in that class. They did not make any more ships like it. It's an ugly ship.
If you go on the Epic, make sure you take an extension, what are they called? Power strips?
Power strips.
Because there's not very many plugs.
There's 2 European plugs, 2 US 110 plugs, no USB ports. There's nothing like that.
So if you're a CPAP user like him, you're going to need extension cords.
They're not by the bed. They're opposite the bed on the desk area.
Yeah, so then if you have to get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom, you got to watch where you're walking so you don't trip over a cord.
And you really have to watch where you're walking because you only have about 8 inches from the end of the bed to the desk.
The layout was weird, and I just still can't get over that my feet hung off the end of the bed.
I mean, I'm 6'18", but just kidding, I'm not that tall.
But hey, it was a cruise. It was fun. We met some really great people. I think the people made it fun.
Yes.
Our Facebook group made it fun. Had it been before we really got involved in Facebook groups, when we first started cruising, I don't know that I would have had as much fun.
Right. I will never tell you not to join a Facebook group. I hope that when you do join a Facebook group for your cruise, that it is as active as the one that we were on. We had great times, meet and greets, and we had shot glass exchanges, we had pajama parties, we had bar crawls. We did everything. We had a slot pool that won money. We split over $1,500 on a slot pool, which to me has never happened before.
No.
So I'm content with that. And by the way, thanks, Shorty.
Yeah.
She hit big.
Big time. Not once.
She hit twice. In conclusion, I am definitely going to go on a Norwegian ship again. I will never turn down a cruise. 3 Facebook Jasons for this cruise. 3 Facebook Jasons for this cruise. Definitely our first Norwegian, but not our last Norwegian.
Absolutely not.
I will speak for me. My first epic cruise, my last epic cruise.
I don't know that I'd want to do that ship again.
No. So if you liked the videos that were all through this series, you like us for some crazy reason, like, subscribe, follow us. We do have more cruises coming up. We're going on a New Year's Eve cruise with the family on the Carnival Venecia. Obviously New Year's this year. And then in February, I'm going with a good friend of mine. We're doing 2 Men in a Tub, Rub-a-Dub-Dub. It's a vlogger reunion cruise on Margaritaville at Sea, which will be a new one. It's a new ship for both of us, new cruise line for both of us, and new ports for both of us. So we're excited about that. Stay tuned to watch that. And Mrs. Facebook Jason will be at home.
I'll be working.
We're working.
I'll
be working too. So we hope you liked the videos. Like, subscribe, follow us for more cruising stuff. We do have a lot more cruises coming up, and I am always looking for a cruise to go on. So if you know one that you're going on and you want us to go on, or you want me to go on, because I am the famous Facebook Jason,
Please.
just drop a comment below and I'll go with you if I can. But until then, remember, above everything else, take care of yourself and each other. And a cruise day is better than a work day any day.
And make those memories with your family, because in the end, that's all you got.
See you guys later.
Bye.
You can support our cruise and coffee addiction through the link in the description to our Buy Me a Coffee account.